day 9. Yes. Just getting all my stuff ready. Hope everybody's doing well. Here in Ontario, it is Family Day. And we're enjoying this being snowed in. I know many of us are snowed in, and so I'm hoping you're taking that time to unwind, spend time with family, with friends, with yourself, if that's even possible. So hopefully these 15 minutes that we're doing every day, day 9, imagine. Wow. I have to say I'm very proud of myself because I'm actually doing this. This is a huge deal, people. Because for those of you who know me, this is so not part of my comfort zone. I love being in front of a public. I love feeding off the energy of people, and it's just not my thing talking to a camera. But knowing that many of you are tuning in, whether live or in replay, does make a difference. So thank you. So today we are day 9 talking about matters of the heart. And I wanted to, it's fitting, right? Because we just celebrated Valentine's Day. Well, for sure, my husband and I we're lovebirds pretty much every day by the grace of God. So we don't necessarily need the day, but it's fun, to kind of highlight a little bit of romance here and there. So one of our amazing mentors who's been married for over 30 years, I think 33 years, I think that's what was said. So he invited 3 couples, younger couples. So one of them were married 18 years, the other couple 23 years, and that's 25. So we're the second seniors of the group. He was actually our best man for our marriage, our wedding. Anyway, so very, very dear to our hearts, these 3 couples, really. And so, we've been doing life together for over 30 years. Yeah, so it's pretty awesome. Anyway, all this to say that so he had the idea of having the men write poems to us. And so it was just amazing to see, what all these men came up with for their wives. And of course, my honey, he did spectacular. Okay, let me just say. So, it was just beautiful to hear their hearts, for us and stuff. And actually, we also had to share our hearts towards them before, they did their declarations. So, it was really sweet. And, I was really hot at some point. I'm like, okay, we gotta go. Joking around, but anyways, and they gave us these little, stuffed animal, little bear, and he said we needed to name it. So I named mine Bijou. Okay, this is Bijou. Say hi, Bijou. So Bijou is actually French for jewel. So that's the name of my little teddy bear, and I really do believe that my relationship with my husband, his name is Reggie. He's awesome. Did I say he's awesome? Yes, he's awesome. And so our relationship is really definitely a jewel. And what I shared, one of the things I shared, because we had to share 3 things that we love and appreciate about our spouse. And for me, one of the things that I shared was that he has such a beautiful heart, and his heart is really a safe space for me, where I can totally be myself without censoring, without Sometimes, yeah, I did kind of censor, a few years in because of just not wanting to deal with certain things. But, as we grew in our maturity in our marriage, it became more and more easy, to just be and feel and do and be. So definitely very grateful for that. It took a lot of work, but we made it. We survived. We survived, people. And our hearts, are more and more open to each other. So that is a beautiful gift. So this is why I call my little bear Jewel. And yeah, it's just a reminder, even when the going gets tough, that what, we got a jewel here, we got to make sure we keep it up. And that's part of the it's just so crucial, where we talked about the difference between body, soul, and spirit. And the heart, in my definition, is really, and we're talking about the spiritual heart, is really between the soul and the spirit. So it's like a bridge, a gateway. And so I'm going to do the reading. And if I have time to gab a little bit, I will. If not, definitely make plans if you can to come March 1st at 12 for the clinic, the very first clinic. So this is where I will have a bit more time to kind of unpack some things. But here, we doing the reading and the challenge. And that is what's most important. And if we get to some of the other stuff, we will. Okay. All right, so we're still in foundation. This is the last reflection for foundation. And then we're getting into self-image tomorrow. All right. Reflection 9, matters of the heart. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. This is from Antoine Saint-Exupéry. Today we are talking about the heart. As we introduce the foundation or the composition of the human being as being made in 3 parts, body, soul, and spirit, there's also this thing called the heart. And it's not a little thing. So we have our physical hearts, but we also have our spiritual hearts. And this is a pathway between our soulish realm and our spirit realm. We don't realize how much this space is life-giving. Keeping it at a specific temperature is very important so we can easily access the true core of who we are, which is spirit, right? We hear a lot about following our hearts and often talk about having a broken heart because it's a crucial part of who we are. It sometimes needs as much attention or even more than any other part. My question to you today is, how is your heart? And also, how in touch are you with your heart? All right. So, yeah, it is definitely sensitive in many ways to talk about the heart and to even begin to explore what's in our hearts. But it really does make a difference. It can impact every area of your life, even physical. And sometimes, we look at some of the symptoms that we have in our physical body, and truthfully, they are connected to the state of our heart. So this is definitely something that needs to be unpacked more, which I don't have time. But there's this thing called psychosomatic symptoms. And so many times there's an internal issue that is producing the external issue. And so we should not take for granted that piece. So being able to connect and be in tune with our heart is really, really important, because all the issues of life come from that very special place. And so I come again with the stillness, which again we'll talk more later, but there's no other way to truly get in touch with our heart than going into that space. And so I know a lot of us are not in tune with that, are not used to making this a regular thing, but it is a must. All right. And so looking forward to digging a little bit deeper into that practice. But for now, we will go to our challenge. And so I hope you were able to do some of the challenges that we've been talking about. But when it comes to the heart, I really beseech you to truly do this one, okay? And I promise that it will be worth it. All right. So, reflection 9, Matters of the Heart challenge. Reflect on your heart space today. So, how do you do that? Just try 2 minutes where you remove all distractions. You put yourself in a space where you can be alone and ask yourself some questions to kind of unpack what is happening in your heart. What are some of the questions that you can ask yourself? Is there a unresolved emotion here that my heart is carrying? It could be that yesterday, I don't know, you were in traffic and you got so angry at the person that, wasn't moving forward when they were supposed to, okay? And this is really not necessarily about the situation, but it is something that is deeper, that is actually being reflected in this particular situation. Because when you look back and you kind of retract and say, okay, was that necessary? Like, was that really proportional? This anger that came out from this particular situation? No. And so you can ask yourself, when was the first time that you reacted with such anger to a situation that frustrated you, or that, something was supposed to happen that you felt needed to happen but didn't happen the way you wanted it? So these are some of the ways that you can get at the root of some things. Okay, so sometimes we need help with that. And that is where, counseling is fitting, or a very trusted friend, someone where that is a safe space. Like I was explaining, that my husband is a safe space. So, I can explore some of these things. Sometimes being able to verbalize is important. I've always even suggested to some people to speak to a chair, like nobody's there, but the chair represents a person, and you could just exteriorize, what's really going on. So try that. Try to take one situation where there was an unresolved emotion or something that was not proportional to what you were going through, and write down one thing that would counteract this particular emotion. what would be that you would let go of that and allow yourself to, be in a space of being calm and not really worrying about that, and just taking the opportunity in the traffic to do something that you enjoy, maybe listening to a podcast or music, whatever it is, okay? So jot it down and, you know, try to see where you go when that happens, okay? In hindsight. All right. And if this happened this morning, it's a great way to get there. All right. So, this is your homework or your challenge for today. Okay. And then commit to doing something that really nurtures a good temperature in your heart. Okay. So, those were some examples, but it could be anything. You know what brings joy to your heart. Okay, I'm done.